Leading local tonight in our top story. The trial began today in the case of a woman accused in the death of her 5-year-old nephew. Back in November 2021, 40-year-old Rolanda Doyle signed a handwritten agreement with her sister Natasha Doyle, mother of the 5-year-old, for custody of him and his brother. KX News' Adrian Oglesby has more.
Do you know what's going on?
No. He's not moving. He's cold. He's checked his eyes. His pupils are still the same. His teeth are shut.
You just heard a portion of the 911 call to the Bismarck Police Department as they responded to a report of an unresponsive 5-year-old, Jeremy Doyle, on February 18th of 2022. Officers say they found him unconscious, not breathing, with several injuries throughout his body.
I ran into the house, and in the middle of the living room floor was a small, what appeared to be lifeless body.
What did you do when you got inside?
At that point, the fire department had taken over life-saving measures. They were performing CPR, and we began to try to figure out what had caused this.
Caregiver of Jeremy, Rolanda Doyle, is now on trial as she faces 2 charges, murder and child abuse. Her attorney, Matthew Arthurs, argues Jeremy Doyle's death was from natural causes. At the time of his death, the defense claims Jeremy had COVID, amongst other illnesses.
Not only did he have COVID, his lungs were inflamed and infected with adenovirus, and there were pockets of harmful bacteria in there as well. He had secondary pneumonia. He had abscesses in his lungs that were breaking down his alveoli. And when oxygen can't get into the bloodstream, oxygen can't get into your brain. And when there's not enough oxygen in your brain stops working, tells the lungs to stop breathing, tells our hearts to stop beating. And the person dies because of this. The person dies of natural causes, and there's nobody to blame.
But State Attorney Julie Ann Lawyer argues there was a buildup to the child's poor physical and living conditions.
He had what's called cerebral edema, which is swelling of the brain. He had bleeding between the skull and the skin of his scalp. A subgaleal hemorrhage is what that's called. He had a subdermal hemorrhage, which is bleeding between the brain and the skull. He had subarachnoid hemorrhages, which is bleeding in the space that surrounds the brain. He had scrapes and wounds to his face, his left ear, his neck, his chest, his back, his abdomen, both arms, both hips, and both legs. He had bruises on his face, his chest, both arms, and both legs. They noticed a cut on his lower lip.
The list went on with findings of gangrene, pneumonia, bacterial infections, COVID-19, a respiratory virus, and more. Rolanda was evidently overwhelmed with emotions after the court laid out some graphic testimonies and photos.
As you can see, abrasions and skin tears in various stages of healing as well, the left and right foot of Jeremy. And what most obvious to me is advanced frostbite.
In addition, CHI St. Alexius emergency physician Dr. Amber Peterson testified saying Jeremy was smaller than the average 5-year-old, looking about 3 or 4 years old. Dr. Peterson says he was wearing a diaper, had visible pressure ulcers, both not typically seen in 5-year-olds. She states many injuries and bruises she saw were evidently not from February 18th. They were accumulated over time. Rolanda's attorney states these claims are speculation. The question in the trial is, did 5-year-old Jeremy Doyle die from natural causes or child abuse? Reporting for KX News, I'm Adrian Oglesby.
The trial is scheduled to last 5 days. To view our previous coverage of the case, visit kxnet.com.